finally, we'll get to some software recommendations that you can use. And I always try to do this with an eye for the philanthropic. I want this to be as inexpensive for you as possible. That being said, I'm going to start with the same way I did before with Photoshop, because that really is hands down the most exemplary piece of photography editing software anyplace. Full stop. Now, you can have your opinion as to whether or not that is the case. There are many people who have their favorite, photo editing software, and that's fine. But there's undoubtedly a reason why so many people use Photoshop. There's a reason why photoshopping an image is a stand-in for the idea of editing an image, is because it does it so ubiquitously and wonderfully that it is the solution to know. Just the license, renting it for Adobe Photoshop CC, that is Creative Cloud. You can use it on all of your devices though, which is nice, is $20 a month. So just that is an expensive proposition for most people. Now, like we mentioned in the previous video, baked into your operating system, wherever that operating system is. So if it's Windows, if it's Mac, if it's Android, if it's iOS, baked in is an image editor, which probably does an okay job, but you'll want to do a little bit better. So what I'll say for right now is, if you are on your phones or your tablets, so Android or iOS, the software you're going to want to look for is not, this is not in order of preference. This is in order of me remembering to mention it. So first, a free version of Photoshop called Photoshop Express. Now, with Photoshop Express, you can get it on your Android, your iOS devices, either platform. Sign in with your S number at student.rockvalleycollege.edu, and you get a bunch of extra filters, and you can use it for free, which is fantastic. And much of the power of Photoshop, albeit a little stripped down and simplified, is available to you right there with Photoshop Express on mobile. So that's a great solution to go with. Also free on mobile and irrespective of the platform, so both on iOS and Android, you have Snapseed. I actually prefer Snapseed to Photoshop Express. There's just a wealth of tools in there. It was a not expensive, but also not inexpensive photo editor for desktop, and then Google purchased it, baked a lot of the fantastic tools right into Google Photos, and then released it again as a new app for free. So it's fantastic, it's free, and I use it all the time. And finally is Visco, VSCO Cam. Now that one has gone through a lot of changes, but it is a fantastic editor for mobile, and it really did start a lot of the filters that everybody is so familiar with now. Really did get their start on Visco Cam when it was called Visco Cam. It's just Visco now, VSCO, and that's available on your Android or your iOS devices. Now, I do want to mention a couple of paid solutions. I am sorry, to the Android side of things, there's just not as much development there. If you want a paid solution on iOS that's really fantastic, I have long used Pixelmator, and I think it is phenomenal. Now, on the desktop, I suggest, instead of using Photoshop, try to cut your teeth with GIMP, G-I-M-P. It's got the most unfortunate name, but it's got a really wonderful skill set available there. And as a matter of fact, the Photoshop Yourself assignment is really done using GIMP. It's nearly... Now, I know this is not the case, but if you squint at just a couple of inconsistencies, this really is the case. Is GIMP is nearly a feature for feature copy of Photoshop, and I don't know how they're not sued into oblivion, but they're not. But getting back to Pixelmator on the iOS side of things, if I remember, I hope I do, to put right here, that same trip to the zoo, we have a picture here of bears. It was behind bars because they're bears. And here, again, using Pixelmator for all of 40 seconds, I was able to remove all of the bars there, so it looked like we were taking a picture of a bear right in front of us, which is how they would have discovered our corpses. So there's a huge host of software available for you out there, and maybe you'll want to move into a paid piece of software eventually, but for right now, please don't. If you're on a desktop, whether it's a Mac, a PC, or if you're our Linux weirdo, go grab GIMP. It is essentially free Photoshop. If you are on an iOS or an Android device, go grab Photoshop Express. It's PS Express. Now I remember the mistake I was making earlier. Go grab Snapseed. Go grab Visco. Or just continue to use whatever is built into the default photo apps, and that's going to get you a lot of the utility that you need to take a good photo and make it great.